History tells the story of the world and of our lives. Sometimes that history goes bump in the night. Broadcasting from the center of oddity and the supernatural in Central Florida, it's the History Goes Bump podcast.
Hello, you spooktacular people. Welcome to History Goes Bump Redux. I am your host, Diane.
And this is Kelly.
Kelly, we are going back to a location that we did back in 2015, the Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas.
Looking forward to it.
And it's a good thing we're updating this because a lot is going on. It's not just sitting dilapidated and unloved anymore. It's being renovated and it has plans to open up as the Baker Hotel and Spa in 2026.
I love it. That's really great news.
Are you ready to go back?
I'm ready. The Baker Hotel is known as the Grand Old Lady and is located in Mineral Wells, Texas, a town named for the mineral springs in the area. In the early 1900s, the city became a place for those seeking healing from the curative effects of the mineral springs. To provide lodging for these guests, the Baker Hotel was built by Theodore Baker. For years, this once grand resort sat decaying, but today it is undergoing extensive renovations with a plan to reopen in 2026. We have to wonder what the many spirits here have to say about that. Join us as we explore the history and hauntings of the Baker Hotel.
"45 miles west of Fort Worth, Texas, lies the city of Mineral Wells, a small town that retains the old-fashioned charm of years gone by in its downtown area. In 1877, James Alvis Lynch and his family moved to the area with 50 head of livestock, looking for a drier climate. He and his wife had rheumatism. There wasn't a nearby water source, so the family decided to drill a well. They were disappointed with the results. The water they managed to get had a funny taste. The Lynches decided to just give it to the livestock, but after a while, the family found it easier to just drink the weird water, and they found that they felt better after drinking the water. James and his wife told their neighbors that the water had healed them. Their joints weren't hurting anymore. Neighbors started asking for the water, and pretty soon strangers started showing up on the Lynch property and asking about the water. Mineral Wells was founded in 1881, and James Lynch named himself mayor. I guess if you formed or started everything, you might as well be the mayor, too.
Self-appointed.
And as we know, the Native Americans in the area knew about these mineral springs long before the European settlers got here, and they already knew about the curative effects and had been using it for probably centuries.
The town drilled several wells to cash in on its mineral springs gold mine after being founded. One of the key ingredients in the water is lithium, which is used to treat mental illness.
Not sure you really want to be ingesting a lot of that, especially if you don't really need it.
Right. One woman in particular would drink from one of the wells twice a day, and she claimed that it cured her mental illness. The well was soon named Crazy Well. The mineral wells became a booming business as trains shipped out the water around the country, and the town soon filled up with bathhouses, spas, and drinking pavilions. It only made sense that someone would build a large luxury resort here, and that's just what Theodore Baker did. Baker went by TB, and he was born in 1875 in the state of Iowa. He moved to Texas and became a hotel tycoon. His Baker Hotel Company would eventually own the Gunter Hotel that we covered in podcast episode 47. He designed and built several hotels in Texas, including the Baker Hotel in Dallas and the Hotel Texas in Fort Worth, and he became one of Hilton's top competitors. He was approached by the citizens of Mineral Wells, and they asked him to design and build a hotel for the city to accommodate tourists and ensure that profits stayed within the city and its shareholders.
I wonder if he ever rethought going with the initials TB.
That's exactly what stood out to me.
I mean, at this time, we do probably have tuberculosis getting a little crazy here and there. So it's like, are you sure you want to go by those initials? The area where the Baker Hotel was built had been the former home of the Crazy Hotel. And there is a Crazy Water Hotel in the town now that has been refurbished, reopened, has a restaurant. And our listener, Melissa Potter, as I was going through and updating all these notes, Kelly, I looked into the Crazy Water Hotel. She posts on Facebook that she and her family were having lunch that day, right there in
and
that hotel.
What'd she say about, there are no coincidences around here?
Yep. I'm like, there's always some kind of synchronicity that happens. And we're not like a huge podcast, because if that was the case, well, of course, if you've got millions and millions of listeners, you're going to have synchronicity pop up. But we're a pretty close-knit little group and stuff, and it happens all the time. So that Crazy Hotel, that one burned to the ground in 1925. So this is not the Crazy Water one. This is just the Crazy Hotel. The Baker was modeled after Arkansas's Arlington Hotel, and the two shared the same designer, Wyatt Hendrick. Hendrick designed the hotel in the Spanish colonial revival style. When finished in 1929, the Baker Hotel was lavish and rose to 14 stories and had 450 rooms, 2 grand ballrooms, a beauty shop, gymnasium, and bowling alley. The rooms on the 12th floor and above were reserved as apartments, and they all shared the rooftop solarium. Most tall buildings were reserved for the big cities, so the Baker Hotel was very unique. And even to this day, it is this huge, tall building in this small town. It stands out big. And so, of course, when it got dilapidated, it was kind of like having a big sore thumb in the middle of the place. So imagine this refurbished to its grandeur, what it could do for this small town.
I'm so glad that they're refurbishing it, too.
Yeah.
They need to do that more often with these beautiful old buildings.
The amenities for the hotel were top bill and innovative. Turning the key in the lock of the door caused the fans and lights to automatically turn on and off. Ice water was circulated to all rooms through a hydraulic system. The first ever swimming pool at a Texas hotel was here at the Baker. TB had made a trip out to California during construction, and he decided that his hotel must have a swimming pool. Because, of course, everywhere out in California had a swimming pool. It still does. It's kind of the same thing here in Florida, I guess. It was built over the basement at the front of the hotel and was filled with water from the mineral springs. So not only can you drink it, but you can swim in it here at the hotel. You know, the mineral water has it does have a weird taste to it, so I don't know how much drinking of it I'd want to do. But the 1940s brought in air conditioning for the entire hotel.
The cloud room at the top of the hotel featured the music of big bands, as did the first floor Brazos room. The famous and politicians enjoyed staying at the Baker. The future President Lyndon Johnson stayed there, as did Judy Garland, Lawrence Welk, Clark Gable, the Three Stooges, Marlene Dietrich, and some claim Bonnie and Clyde laid their heads here for a night or two. The cloud room really is magnificent. Multi-paned windows surround it, making for a breathtaking view of the city and any sunrise or sunset. One can imagine the famous and wealthy waltzing across the floor. The hotel was incredibly successful despite the fact that the stock market crashed 2 weeks after the hotel opened.
And that cloud room is one of the first things that they've gotten renovated there with all the original windows. And, you know, they've cleaned them up and restored them and everything. And it really is something to see. TB himself did run into financial difficulties in 1933. In March of that year, Baker had to write the stockholders to inform them that no dividends would be paid that year. And his reasoning for that was because the creditors needed to get their money. So we got to pay the debt. Can't give you guys any dividends. Thanks for investing. The Baker Hotel Company was sued, and the Gunter Hotel was handed over to different management. The other hotels faced similar fates, but the Mineral Wells Baker Hotel remained with the Baker family. World War II gave the hotel a boost when a military base opened nearby. But by the 50s, the popularity of the hotel was in decline, and the appeal of the mineral water had died down. TB seems to have decided to step out of the business spotlight at this point, and he went on to live a quiet life, dying at the ripe old age of 96. His nephew, Earl Baker, had wanted the hotel business, So TB gave him the Baker in 1952. Earl managed to get back control of the Gunter Hotel as well. He then went on to grab the rest of the hotel business, which landed him in court fighting with TB's sister. Ownership of the Baker Hotel Company is murky, but it would seem that Earl controlled most of it in the end, and he owned the Baker until he was 70. Earl shuttered the hotel in 1963 and eventually suffered a fatal heart attack in the Baker Suite in 1967. Civic leaders reopened the hotel, but that didn't last long as they didn't turn a profit.
The Baker officially closed in 1972, and there it sat for decades, slowly decaying. In 1999, there was a chance for new life. Two men named Laird A. Fairchild and Chad Patton began efforts to renovate the Baker Hotel, reimagining the resort as the Baker Hotel and Spa. When we first covered the Baker Hotel in July of 2015, so 9 years ago, attempts to renovate the hotel were underway, partly funded by the citizens of Mineral Wells. This was going to require many years and nearly $54 million. By June of 2015, they had managed to raise $28 million, and the project was moving forward, but very slowly. And then came 2019, when all the talk stopped and real plans were set forward. There is an actual website, and renovations have been ongoing. Their TikTok channel has featured updates of the work being done by contractor Mark Rawlings and his team. He helped to restore the Driscoll Hotel in Austin.
So apparently he likes these old haunted hotels.
Clearly.
Now, I went over and watched a lot of the TikTok videos that they had, and Mark stopped doing them back in February. And there's a lot of people who are commenting under those recent ones in February saying, hey, where did you go from his, like last week, a couple weeks ago? So I don't know why they're not updating the renovation stuff over at TikTok anymore. They had some really cool videos there, like getting the elevator going again.
It's a little worrisome. Hopefully things are still moving forward.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you stop? Because, that was quite a while ago, February. So hopefully everything is still going according to plan. Everything looks good on the website. They managed to find some of the original outdoor lamps that they had. They had these multicolored panes in them, like yellow, red, and blue. They look very cool.
Very cool.
And they have all the windows are pulled out, and they're trying to, the original windows, they're putting new glass panes in them and stuff. And he was going through and showing how they're restoring a lot of the wood, leaving the wood, but patching it and stuff in the door jambs and along the walls and stuff like that. So they're really trying to keep it as close to the original as they can. And they even had this before and after of a hallway, and you're looking down this hallway that looks like any asylum that you've been in, with peeled paint and falling over things and just trash everywhere, and looks like it's out of a horror movie. And then it has Mark walking down the hallway now that it's been
renovated,
redone, and the walls, they don't have paint on them or anything, but all the walls are done. The floor looks nice. It's just like, wow, what a before and after.
Yeah.
And now a little break for a word about one of our sponsors. Here's the main problem we've got going on here. Getting this thing financed is almost impossible because we said 56 million here is what they had planned, or 54 million. Now it's up to 65 million. Imagine going into a bank and saying, we need $65 million to renovate this hotel over here that will probably be worth on book 46 million when we're done.
Well.
So we want to take out a loan for 25 million more than what it's going to be worth when we're done. And the chances of us really turning this into a major tourist thing, maybe not so great. And the city's having this issue. They're trying to revitalize their downtown area, but a lot of people aren't coming there because, where do we stay? There's not a lot of other things going on. So the businesses are failing there. And they've had other things like all of the military's left. I can't remember. They had another factory there and that closed down. So their unemployment rate here is the highest in the state of Texas. Lots of people are moving out and businesses just are faltering. And it's they need that hotel to help them to flourish. But who's going to come to the hotel when there's nothing to come to other than to the hotel? Which is probably why they're not hiding the fact that it's haunted, because if you can get people to come to a haunted hotel. So that's the issue we're working with here. So I really commend these guys. They're clearly not doing this for the money, because they're not going to make money off of this.
I'm sure it's a passion project.
They went overseas to try to get foreign money, especially from China, because China loves to invest over here. And they were even having a hard time getting that kind of stuff going on. And our government has been doing some things with the law that are making it so that you can't really get China to invest. So that kind of got the kibosh put on it. The website says of the plan, the Baker Hotel Development Partners, LLC and its affiliates, in conjunction with support from the City of Mineral Wells, will revive the 14-story Spanish Colonial Revival Tower to feature a fully renovated collection of 165 guest rooms and amenities, including a spa, convention and business facilities, event ballrooms and restaurant, coffee shop, and retail options. The local mineral springs that once drew celebrities from around the world will be utilized again, along with modernized amenities adapted to the lifestyle of the modern-day guest. Blending historic architectural design with new technology, the hotel will offer expanded guest rooms and gracious public spaces to host weddings, special events, conventions, and the sojourning weekenders. And as we said earlier, the goal is to reopen in 2026. At first it was 2025, now it's been pushed to 2026.
We didn't see any plans for ghost hunts at the hotel, but it definitely is an angle they should consider after opening because there are several spirits reputedly at the hotel. There were many deaths at this location, and the spirits of these people seem to continue on at the Baker. A woman who enjoyed the scent of lavender committed suicide in the hotel. She had been the mistress of the hotel manager, who some claim was Baker himself, and he finally broke things off, admitting that the two would never be together, and so she was distraught. She jumped from the top of the building. The scent of lavender is detected in the hallways on occasion, particularly on the 7th floor. It is believed she had a room on this floor. A night porter saw her apparition for the first time in the 1950s. Maids would find glasses with lipstick on the rims in the woman's former room when no one had been staying in the room.
She needed some of that mineral water.
I guess so. Mark Rawlings has had some experiences himself. He has smelled the lavender scent over a dozen times, and he has smelled cigar smoke in a former suite on the 11th floor where T.B. Baker had lived. He told WFAA, "I've smelled cigar smoke in there. I've never smoked a cigar." But Baker did. He liked to enjoy one by the fireplace.
They also get down in the laundry room the scent of laundry detergent. And it was like a whole group of people, I believe. I don't know if it was WFAA or maybe it was another television station that had come in and they were doing some filming in there and they all smelled it. This is a laundry room that hadn't been open for decades.
I was going to say, when's the last time they did laundry there?
And Mark said when you get a scent of that lavender, it's definitely something that like he would have smelled on his grandmother. So it's old lady perfume, as we like
I
to
knew
put
where
it.
you were going with it. That's quite the nose picture.
One of the assistant managers of the building was named Ronnie Walker. He had several experiences. One evening, he heard the clickety-clack of high heels coming around a corner toward him. He called out the name of the female manager and got no response. The sound of the shoes faded away. He went to see who had made the noise and found no one. When he asked the manager later, she said she had not been in the hotel. Another time, the lights kept tripping on and off on the 7th floor. Ronnie went up to fix the breaker box. He heard something walking towards him, but he could not see anything. He decided to address the spirit out loud, and he explained that he was not trying to hurt the spirits there, and he just wanted to fix the fuses. There were no more issues with the lights tripping on and off after that. Guess you just have to be firm with them. Hey, look, I'm not here to bother you. Just trying to fix things. It's the same thing with Mark. He goes, we don't really have anything negative here. And he goes, I think they know we're trying to fix their house up.
The laundry rooms were in the basement of the hotel. A young man who worked in the hotel invited a buddy to join him down in the laundry room so they could chat up the laundry girls down there. His supervisor caught wind of the fraternization and went down to the laundry to investigate. The young man was given a heads up and he jumped into an elevator quickly. The doors were closing as his friend followed and he was pinned by the closing doors, which killed him. His apparition has been seen near the elevators.
So I don't know if this is at a time where the doors don't just bounce back open when you hit them.
Possibly.
Maybe that's why they do that, is because people were getting killed by the doors closing on them.
Yeesh.
The Brazos room has also been the scene of unexplained happenings. A group of World War II veterans was enjoying a tour of the abandoned building with their wives when suddenly one of the couples stopped in the middle of the Brazos room and told everyone that they could hear the sounds of dishes being washed. Pretty soon, everybody could hear the tinkling of silverware, clinking of glasses, and clattering of dishes. Then they heard voices and music. Was this perhaps some kind of a time slip that was locked in?
Could be.
Residual, and they're just hearing a party going on there?
There is a spirit of a little boy here, according to a psychic. In 1933, he and his parents were staying at the hotel while the little boy was undergoing treatment for leukemia. He died there at the hotel. A shaggy dog has accompanied the child ghost at times. Some people claim they have seen a little boy in a wheelchair. Is this the same child?
A drunk woman tried to jump into the pool from the 12th floor.
What?
Bonsai!
Oh, no.
Yeah, this is not a good... Can you imagine from the 12th floor? I mean, if you're going from like the 3rd floor and it's pretty close, I could kind of see, but...
I mean, that's ridiculous.
As you can imagine, that did not go well. A cook and maid had been having an affair at the hotel. They fought, and the maid threatened to out the affair to the cook's wife. He was enraged and grabbed a knife. He stabbed her to death in the pantry. Her spirit has been seen in the kitchen. Of course, there's no newspaper accounts to go with that, so I don't know that it actually happened. Mr. Baker died in the hotel, as we had said earlier, and he seems to have stayed on in the afterlife. He lived on the 10th floor and has been seen there several times. And he seems to be joined by a redhead wearing white. This could be the same woman that hangs out on the 7th floor, too.
Many people have stayed at the Baker Hotel in life, and now many continue in the afterlife, it would seem. Are disembodied sounds living on in the present, or is there some kind of time loop here? Have the emotions of death by murder and suicide caused the spectral essences of some to remain? Is the Baker Hotel haunted?
That is for you to decide. Well, for those of you who have been by the Baker Hotel there in Mineral Wells, how's it coming along? Does it look pretty good? I don't know if the outside has gotten cleaned up yet because I haven't seen any updates. I'm just excited for it to finally get itself put together. It might give us a reason to head over to that part of Texas. And
most definitely. If you have any information on it, shoot us an email.
I know there's a woman who does ghost tours there, and they go to the outside of the hotel and talk about the spirit. So I imagine she'll definitely be doing that when it reopens, and maybe you can even go in and hang out in the lobby and see the inside and hear the stories too. We'll see what happens when it gets done. Hopefully it gets done. They are about $25 million short of how much money they need to finish it. So
more is to be revealed.
That is true. I want to thank you guys for joining us for this Redux. I've been your host, Diane.
And this has been Kelly.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.